Hello and welcome to day 12 of Vlogmas. So no, you're surprised, Blaithin isn't around. Well, here I am, and she doesn't want to do a video today, so she said, you do one. And then I said, okay, I will do one for you lovely people who are all watching us on our daily exploits through the bellows. So today I wanted to talk about, and I was doing a lot of thinking about it, and I was wondering, what could I do as a little video to all you good people out at Vlogmas. And one thing that always annoys me around Christmas is setting the table. Now, as you might imagine, and you probably have guessed by now, my wife is a little bit OCD when it comes to setting the table. So I'm going to do a video on how to set the table if you have an OCD wife or partner or significant other or child, and how not to set the table for that significant other person in your life. Now, the not to is probably going to get you killed, but it is quite funny to see their faces scrunch up in pure agony when you're trying to do it. And yes, this sounds very harsh, but comedy is harsh. So let me show you very quickly how to start. So for the purposes of this dinner, I have here in front of me a blank table. As you can see, there is nothing on it. Now, the first thing that needs to be put down to protect the table for your OCD person is this thing. It's for putting your plate on. I don't actually know. A coaster? I don't think it's a coaster. A table mat. That's what it is. A table mat. So you put the table mat roughly in the center of your chair. This is where the all-important plate will be placed. Now, to accompany your table mat, you need a coaster. This is to be placed beside the table mat on the right hand side, if the person who will be sitting here is right-handed. Generally 90, maybe a lot less, 60% of the population is right-handed, so generally you will be right 6 out of 10 times in that scenario, if you don't know the other person what hand they are. Next, you need to place the cutlery. You start with the knife, and you put the knife down there on the right. To accompany a knife, you need a fork. Now, ideally, in the correct scenario, these should all be the same, but for the purposes, you can see one fork is bigger than another. That's because this will be your main dinner fork. Then there is a smaller fork. This is for a fish and the like. Generally, like in the Titanic, you work, like in that great film The Titanic, you work from the outside in. Well, that's very blurry, but you get the point. Right. So now you have 2 forks, 1 knife. But you must have a second knife. Why? Because the first knife you could have used for buttering and the like in your starter, or you could have just used it on your starter. Ideally, if you're having steak, you would have a much sharper knife, which will replace these more blunt knives, which are primarily used for everything apart from steak. Next, we move on to your spoons. Your spoons, this would be regarded as a tablespoon or a dessert spoon. And you place your dessert spoon there on top over your table mat. This is a soup spoon. So because it's got a much larger ladle section. I don't know what you call it, the top of the spoon, that thing. And that is generally seated here beside your forks. That's for your soup course. So when you're starting your meal, you work from outside in. Boop, ba-doop, boop. Now, with your dinner, you need something to drink. And here is where you place your glass. And that, my dears, is where the magic happens. As in, fluid for drinking with your dinner. You need fluid. So we have this orange juice put in this handy little, I would say, IKEA bottle, like a milk bottle, and we place it there. This, my dears, is called a lazy Susan. Why? Because Susan was inherently lazy. Years and years ago, she would sit on a table and just do wee and hand out condiments as she was twirling. Hence the name Lazy Susan. This may not be accurate. Also, that can be placed on a lazy Susan is marshmallow bowl. Or you can place your salt or other condiments on here, including butter. That way, anyone at the table, regardless of where they are seated, can just spin this lazy Susan around and she will offer you her condiments. And finally, the all-important plate with the invisible food can be placed here. And you can, if you so wish, you can move everything out a little bit so that there is room for people to use. Ideally, the scenario would be to move them out here. And there you have a complete table setting. Oh, one thing we completely forgot, and it is of vital importance for your food to match your seating, is a napkin. And if you want to be perfect, you could put your utensils on your napkin, like so. And there you have it. Other people like to put the napkin on the plate, make swans out of it and all that kind of crack. I just prefer the lazy option. And there you go. For an OCD person, that's how you set a table setting. And now, I'll show you, for the OCD person, how not to set it. Or if you want to, how to set it. Let's go back to our table setting, our perfectly aligned table setting. Everything has a place, and everything is in its place. But, I'm going to show you how to really annoy someone who's got OCD. First of all, you take your glass, and instead of putting it on the coaster where it should be, you put it slightly above it. Next, your knives. Move your coaster a little bit off center. Take one knife, put it like this. Take another knife and put it like this, so that you can make kind of a jaunty cross out of it. Next thing, with your forks, put one on the plate, put one on your dessert spoon, and put one in the glass. Napkins, well, because of its unique style, you could just throw it anywhere. Lazy Susan. Put the salt on the edge of a Lazy Susan, just out of reach of everyone, so that we have to reach over the Lazy Susan to get it. The drink can be put away completely, because we only need that when someone asks for it. And the marshmallows can be just removed from their Santa's head and just thrown around, just like that. So as you can see, from an OCD's perspective, this is hell on earth. But from someone who wants to make fun of OCD, this is just pure joy. Now, if you have any questions or if you want to murder me, please email this address, james@hownottobearightperson.com. Okay, thank you for watching our video today, well, my video, and see you tomorrow for another episode of Vlogmas. And if you're OCD, you probably should watch from now.